According to our friend Alexander Downer, foreign minister from 100 years ago, he now is telling us that the rules-based order no longer applies, simply because countries like Iran, China, and Russia have never really abided by it. So the theory is because other countries do not see a sense of morality and principle in the way they respond or react to geopolitical events. Therefore, as a result of all of that, we don't need to have any rule-based order at all. And this supports Donald Trump's argument that he is above the law. There's nothing he can do that will contravene any rule, any law, including those that are based on the United Nations agreements or on treaties held between each country. He doesn't need to worry about any of those. They're all gone. And it's people like Alexander Downer who are now supporting those particular ideas. So here's a clip of Downer talking about just these ideas.
What have you made of Trump's actions in Venezuela? And what do you make of those who say he single-handedly destroyed the rules-based order that had kept our world safe for the last 60, 70 years?
Look, there was a time when liberal democracies and freedom-loving people saw the world in terms of, well, we've got to fight authoritarian regimes and fight for democracy and for freedom. And the fact is, over the last 2 decades, we've stopped doing that. We've got into this sort of world of moral equivalence. It doesn't matter what sort of regime they have in Venezuela or in Iran or in Russia or China. That's all fine by us, and it's no better or no worse than ours. We used to have faith in our liberal democratic system. We used to believe in the struggle for freedom. And if I may say so, Donald Trump has returned to those ideas. I mean, he says out of left field things from...
Hold on. Donald Trump has returned to these ideas. What ideas, Alexander, are you talking about specifically? Because Donald Trump represents everything that you in the past would have stood against. But now you've become a kind of Donald Trump sycophant. And it's absolutely sickening to see people like Alexander Downer, a man who I would have estimated had some degree of integrity, now siding with Donald Trump by saying that Donald Trump is abiding by what he now considers to be the moral equivalency, because he's now saying that it's okay for Donald Trump to decide to take over another country just because you disagree with them. And the other issue that I have with Alexander, of which I have many, but primarily also is this notion that somehow the world order has changed according to Donald Trump's interpretation. And this is wrong at all levels, because we were also talking about a man who is amoral, similar to Putin, in fact, and that somehow the United States is no longer taking responsibility for ensuring that the rule of order is stuck to or obeyed in any form or shape. And I find Alexander Downer reprehensible in some of the comments that he's making here, because he now seems to have shifted from the way he would have advocated for things back when he was foreign minister. I'm sure he would have seen things differently then, and to see him siding with Donald Trump, I find somewhat repulsive.
From time to time, there's no doubt about that. But there is also no doubt that he is absolutely determined that the side of freedom is going to start to prevail.
The argument is that freedom somehow is going to prevail. We've got a man here who's sending troops into states around the United States, who wants to take over Greenland, who's even thinking about, invading Canada. I mean, whatever he's got planned for that, who knows. But this is a man with principle. I can't understand where Alexander's coming from in relation to this. This seems to contradict greatly as to my interpretation of who this man is. It is absolutely, and I don't mind saying this, absolutely bewildering.
Because under the old rules-based system, as you describe it, well, Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, they've totally disregarded it.
Yes.
They've disregarded it.
He acts as if he's surprised that they've disregarded it. Like, yeah, they have, because they're rogue nations. So somehow it's okay for the United States now to be a rogue nation simply because someone else has not obeyed the rules. You know, it's the excuse he's now making for Donald Trump to have done the same and to behave the same as those countries have, I find absolutely astonishing.
And they've disregarded it, and they've made a mockery of us over the last 20 years.
That's what I've not understood about all these people complaining that Trump's destroyed the rules-based order. I'm thinking, who's been obeying the rules? Like, we have, but not China, not Russia, not Iran, and we've been made fools of. So I like your analysis.
So because someone else chooses to break the rules, does that mean that somehow it gives us the right to do the same? If someone decides to drive on the other side of the road, does that mean suddenly that we can all drive on the other side of the road? If someone decides to shoot or kill somebody, does that mean that we can also decide? No, the rules are there because they're based on some sort of moral grounding, some sort of principle about righteousness, I guess. But somehow these dudes now seem to think that it's appropriate because the United States have decided to break the rules, that those rules just simply no longer apply. Let me know what you think about all of that in the comment section below. Please remember to subscribe to my video, to ring the bell for further notifications. Let me know what you think. Take care.